The Commodores are the hottest team on Cape Cod. Right now sitting at 500 on the season, 17 wins, 17 losses, and 3 ties, and they can look to split the season series against the Harwich Mariners tonight at Gov Fuller Field. Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Opening the Door alongside Carter Bainbridge, Logan, Soforenko. Carter, let's jump right into things. The Falmouth Commodores got their first win of the season against the Harwich Mariners last week. It was a 6-5 victory, and it was the second night in a row where the Commodores had beaten an Eastern Division team by a score of 6-5.
Well, the Dores have had a lot of one-run games this season. Seemed like for a lot of June they came up on the wrong side of those, but lately, like you said, Falmouth has been playing really good baseball, and part of that was that victory out at White House Field in Harwich. That score of 6-5 helped along by a solo home run by Jace Borfin, but the offense from that point up until last night in a 12-5 win has been scoring early. They've been scoring often and powering through late in games as well. We've seen them more consistently hitting than they did early in the season. If you recall, they had a lot of games where they started out scoring in the first couple innings and then dried out the rest of the way. But at Harwich, they kept on going thanks in part to 5 Mariners errors. So the M's today are looking for a cleaner sheet on defense here at the Gov.
Well, you talked about Jace Borfin. He hit his first home run of the season at White House Field last week. But then you mentioned the errors. It seems that every time the Commodores and the Harwich Mariners play each other this season, there's a lot of errors. And now as we get into the latter stages of the season, it's on both sides.
Well, the Dores defense is still last in the league. We can't forget about that. They've had their struggles on defense this year. It started game 1 of the season when the Mariners were here at the Gov. Falmouth made 5 errors in that game en route to a 9-2 loss that seems like an awfully long time ago now. But those issues, especially on the left side of the infield as of late, for all the good that Alex Mooney and Colby Halter do with their bats, they've been scuffling a little bit on the defensive end in late stretches here in the season. So those are 2 guys to keep your eye on here today as the Dores try to keep it clean on defense and keep their hot streak going.
Well, let's talk about the offense now, because the Falmouth Commodores offense has been absolutely insane these past couple of days. Last night, the Falmouth Commodores beat the Hyannis Hawks by a score of 12-5. It was the second contest in a row where the Falmouth Commodores put up double digits on the scoreboard, and Colby Halter 4 for 5 with a historic night.
The Dores had a bunch of guys in that lineup last night with pretty gaudy stat lines. Borfin had a home run. Halter had another, and a 4 for 5 day with a couple driven in as well. The Dores waited until the 5th inning to really get going, though. We saw them enter the 5th trailing 4-1 at Hyannis, which we've seen before with the Harbor Hawks, a tough team to come back on. But for whatever reason, the Dores against Bourne right before the All-Star break, and again yesterday with Hyannis, they powered through in the late innings. They had that 4 spot in the 5th and just kept on scoring from there. 4, then 3, and then 2 in the 8th and the 9th. So for the Dores, consistent offense, high-powered offense has been their key lately.
Well, you talked about Colby Halter hitting a home run last night. He is now tied for first on Cape Cod with Cotuit's Tyler Johnson, as they both now have 7 home runs. But now we look at the Harwich Mariners offense. They had some life last night. They played the Brewster Whitecaps. Joe Vitrano, their first baseman, hit an opposite field grand slam, and they got a couple of guys at the top of the RBI leaderboards. You got Nick Goodwin, and you also got Joe Vitrano.
And both those guys have been here from just about day 1 for the Mariners. 2 longtime stalwarts in that offense, couple all-stars that we're probably going to see today again in the lineup, along with starter Zane Probst as well. So this Mariners team is a couple games under 500 today, but the Dores definitely can't take them lightly. They've got a lot of talent and trying to make up ground in the Eastern Division with that playoff race really not settled at all to this point.
Well, neither of the Falmouth Commodores playoff races right now, because they have a comfortable lead over the Wareham Gatemen. Wareham in 5th place right now. The Dores lead them by 9 points, but the Falmouth Commodores are only trailing the Bourne Braves by 3 points. So these games are getting more and more important with just 7 games remaining in the regular season. But now, Carter, tonight we have a pitching matchup. You talked about Zane Probst of the Harwich Mariners. It's going to be Zane Probst and Philip Abner. Philip Abner really coming into a starter's capacity these past couple of weeks.
Yeah, Philip Abner was one of the all-stars for the Dores this summer. Just a couple days ago, played at Spillane Field, pitched in that game. We were there for that, present on the day to see the left-hander go. And when you look at his numbers, it can surprise you a little bit. He's been sneaky effective this season. Started out in the bullpen, has been starting as of late, as we saw the Dores around the month of July transition into kind of those bullpen days as we thought at the time. But what they were doing was transitioning some of the bullpen guys to become starters. starters. After they lost a couple names like Ben Hess, Grayson Hitt, and some others, Philip Abner's just picked it up from there. He has been a reliable starter. ERA still under 1 as well. So his numbers sparkling for the season. He's been very effective. And for the Dores trying to keep up that hot streak, he's the guy they went on the mound today.
Well, you mentioned those, I guess you could say, staff days. It was Philip Abner, Drew Summers now drafted, but then it was also Chase Jeter, and we've seen Chase Jeter and we've seen Philip Abner in a starter's capacity these past couple of weeks. So like you said, it's for a good reason. But now here we are, game number 38. The Falmouth Commodores have been playing some great baseball. Big matchup with the M's. Carter's keys for tonight. You got to limit the errors, but what else you got?
Well, that was going to be my big key, and I'll stick with it, even though, you did bring it up, because I really do genuinely believe that that's the difference between what the Dores are going to do when they play well and when they don't. So the Dores have been hot with the bats lately. We've seen that. 10 runs against the Bourne Braves, 12 against the Harbor Hawks just yesterday. So hitting's not the problem. We know they can put up a lot of runs against a variety of pitchers. They just wore out that Hawks pitching staff as well. And the Dores have been getting good contributions from the mound. Will Johnston did enough yesterday. Nolan Moore was really solid in relief as well. So not worried about either of those phases, but you saw a couple errors against the Hawks yesterday, 3 in a game a little while ago against the Hawks as well. They had 5 to tie a season high. So the defense down the stretch for the Dores is important because playing better teams, playing for playoff spots, you have to clean it up on defense. You can't give teams extra outs.
We were talking about the All-Star game. Philip Abner was unfortunately the losing pitcher, but that doesn't really mean anything because the one run that scored while he was on the bump was an unearned run. But All-Star break is beyond past us now. Game number 38 between the Harwich Mariners and the Falmouth Commodores coming up soon. First pitch set for 6 p.m. You can tune in right here at the Falmouth Commodores YouTube channel to catch Carter Bainbridge on the color along with Trey Redfield, who'll be handling some play-by-play duties. I'll be on the field giving you guys updates every 4th inning. But on behalf of Carter and Logan, this has been Opening the Door. We'll see you soon.